I've been away for two and a half two and a half weeks, which is one of the longest vacations that I've ever taken. I highly recommend it if you can figure out how to work that into your schedule. It always takes me the first 5 or 6 days to like come down stress level wise, and then I can actually enjoy vacation. We were in Croatia and it was absolutely gorgeous. If you haven't been, put it on your list. It was totally awesome. Anyway, when I was on vacation, it got me thinking about, I was making lists of topics that I could talk about on these lives. Just little short lessons for you guys, whatever happens to be coming up for me and what I think might be valuable for you. And because vacation for me is really good self-care, I thought we'll start with something about self-care. So today we're going to talk about sleep. Because I know many of you are not getting enough sleep. That tends to be a chronic problem for many women. I would say especially women who are also moms, because we don't prioritize ourselves. And I read this great article the other day about why women need more sleep than men in general. And it had to do with hormones and the way our brain works. And I'll break it down for you here. There were sort of like 5 key reasons why women need more sleep than men. So number 1, on average, we have busier schedules. I know you all know this. We are doing a lot of things. A lot of them seem invisible to the men in our lives, but we are constantly on the go. The second reason, we have a lot of hormonal changes that are happening in our bodies through our cycles and even as we age. And all of those hormonal changes have to reset. They have to be able to get back to equilibrium. And sleep is actually what helps us do that. And so because we have this vast array of hormonal changes happening in our body, that's one of the big reasons we need more sleep than men. What's the third reason we need more sleep than men? Most of us don't get enough sleep. If women are surveyed, often hours of sleep is one of the things we will cut if we feel like we are overwhelmed by things to do. So we're already not getting enough rest. We'll talk about how much you should be getting in just a second. What's the fourth reason we need more sleep than men? Well, not getting enough sleep has links to weight gain, and specifically more so in women than in men. It also is there in men, because when we are not getting enough sleep, our stress levels in our bodies go up, which means we produce more cortisol, stress hormone, and that causes us to be hungry and to hold on to fat. So bad, bad, bad. The fifth reason, we are just wired differently. Our brains work differently. We are wired for analytical and intuitive thinking. We're wired for multitasking. And because of this, our brains are burning more calories and are busier throughout the day, so we need more rest. Now, how much more rest than your average man? Up for debate. There have been several studies done. One of them came to the conclusion that on average, women need 20 minutes more sleep per night than men. But I've read other studies that say it could be upwards of 1 to 2 hours more than men. And so I think what I told my husband was, I need to be getting 8 to 9 hours of sleep, and he needs to be getting, probably 6 to 8 hours of sleep, just depending on what's going on. And you may already sort of have a feel for this, but women don't tend to do as well when we're not getting enough sleep because of all of those reasons I just mentioned. So the general consensus is that adults should be getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night. And I don't know how many women I know who average closer to 5 or 6 hours of sleep a night. That is not enough sleep. So let's start there. Are you getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep consistently? I know I'm okay if I get less than that one night, but if that happens 2 nights in a row, I am definitely not operating as my best self. So if you aren't getting 7 to 9, start thinking here. Is there a way you can get closer to that? So if let's say you're getting 7-ish hours of sleep a night. Are you well rested? Do you wake up energetic without, dragging your butt out of bed? Do you have enough energy to get through all of your day effectively? If the answer is no, one of the reasons, it might not be the only reason, one of the reasons might be that you actually need more sleep. So is there a way, and we'll talk about ways in a second, that you can add another 20 or 30 minutes of sleep on average per night in? Even a change of that much can make a tremendous difference in how you operate day to day. So let's talk about what a lot of us are doing when we should be sleeping. Many women, especially moms, spend the time like right before going to bed getting things done that are often difficult to do, especially if you have young children, while the kids are up. And this can take over, and then before you know it, it's later than you wanted it to be, most likely, and you're only getting, 5 or 6 hours of sleep. And I don't know about you, but when that happens to me, that stresses me out. So I know my stress levels go up because I already know now that I'm not going to get enough sleep, and then I have an even harder time falling asleep because I feel pressure to get the small amount of sleep that I'm actually going to get. So here's something you can do. Make a note, either physically write it down or take note in your brain of all of the things that you're leaving until the evening. So those things that maybe you're waiting until kids are asleep or the house is quieter or whatever that is. What are they? This is how you're going to find some time. We talk about this a lot in the Diva program and talk about time management, but what are you doing? And do you have to be the one doing all of those things? Is there a way to delegate? Is there another time that you could get this done? Is it something that maybe you leave until the kids are in bed, but you could actually do it with the kids, right? So I'm talking like cleanup things, like cleaning up or doing household chores, like anything around the house. Even kids as young as 3 or 4 can participate in those things with you. More fun that way, and you don't then have to push it until everybody's in bed. So I want you to consider this. Are there ways that you can look at what you're currently doing, if you need to add some sleep into your life, that you can delegate or change or do at a different time so that you can gain back, like I said, even 20 or 30 minutes? What happens is we tend to put ourselves last. So we will take away from us and our well-being before we take from anyone else. So I am here to remind you that if you don't take care of yourself, you cannot take care of other people, at least not at your best. So we do things like sleep less or skip our workout or eat convenience crap food. When we do that, we're just hurting ourselves. And even though in the moment it feels like you're helping because you can get more accomplished because you're not wasting your time on things like sleep or working out or eating healthy. But in the long run, you're actually getting less done because you're exhausted and you're not able to show up as your best, most loving, most patient, most kind self for everyone in your world because you have deprived yourself of all of those things that you need. It actually is not selfish at all, not even a little bit, to take care of you. And so if what I just described above is you, I want you to reconsider. It is essential that you take care of you. So if you aren't already ranking yourself up there with your kids and your spouse, move yourself up in the list. You should be up at the top, number 1, tied with everyone else. I actually think you should be above because, like I said, you can't help anyone below you unless you're taking care of you. But at least put yourself at the same level as your spouse and your kids. Treat yourself the same way that you would want them to treat themselves or the way that you treat them. Okay, let's go back to sleep. We're talking about sleep today, but I want you to think about those other things as well. So one thing that can really help with how much sleep you're getting at night, especially if you find that falling asleep is difficult, you've got a racing mind, is coming up with a bedtime routine. Much like we do for our children, where we have like bath time and story time and all that good stuff to help them go to sleep. Do something for yourself. So if you've got that brain that just won't shut off, there are some ways to wind down before sleep so that you can actually fall asleep much more quickly. You probably know this, although everyone resists it. There's lots of research that shows that if you turn off screens, so you get yourself away from all this fun blue light in your face, at least 1 hour before you go to sleep, that's going to help you fall asleep. What about doing something like, this is what I do, drink a cup of tea and read a good book, right? No screens. For me, that's relaxing, and reading is one of my favorite things to do. You could do something like journal or meditate or have some playtime or connection time with your kids or your spouse. Those are just some examples of some things that you can build into that bedtime routine that don't involve a screen. Now, failing all of those things, or even let's say you do that often, but a day that you can't because of schedule or something else that comes up, then I have actually found tremendous value in listening to a sleep meditation when I get into bed. So if I've often happens, I'll be on my computer much later than I intend to, and then I just have to get into bed so I can get enough sleep. So that hour of no screen before bed sometimes just doesn't happen. Of course, I've been working, and so my brain is running, and so I often find that if I get into bed, turn on a sleep meditation, I use several different apps for that. Calm I really like, and then I'm a Mindvalley member, so my Mindvalley app, there's a whole bunch in there. I just turn one on, and the sleep meditations are genius because like 100% of the time I am asleep before I get to the end of it because I never ever hear the end of it. And so for me, that's a great way to just settle in and go to sleep. If you haven't tried it and you find you struggle with that, give it a shot. And what I am challenging each and every one of you to do is, if you're not already, prioritize your sleep for the next 7 days and just see how much better you feel. And then, I'm guessing, you're going to continue to prioritize your sleep. I also think it's super smart to tell your spouse, if you're married to a man, that you need more sleep than he does. And that scientifically, this has been proven, so you are going to make sure you get more sleep. Do that for you. Sleep is super duper important. And I can't remember what the stat was, but it's a crazy high number of women who just routinely through their week do not get enough sleep. So you need sleep for you, and all of those wonderful, amazing people in your lives will be very happy when you get enough sleep because you will be able to show up as your best self. It's really hard to show up as your best self when you're exhausted. So get enough sleep. If there is a topic that you want me to talk about, shoot me a message, send me a DM, put something in the comments, whatever it is, and I'll be happy to talk about, research if I don't know enough about it, and do a little lesson for you in here. I absolutely love talking about all of this stuff. So I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. I hope the weather isn't too hot with that heat wave going wherever you are right now, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.